Hey guys, welcome to another video, another sound card review. This is a sound card from Teratech, but that doesn't really matter so much. It's more about the chipset. This is the audio chip we're going to look at today. It is from ESS and they're still around. They're actually making really high-end DACs. So the model is the ES1938S, but it also goes under the name of ESS Solo-1. So the way I've structured this video, we're going to talk about the card. We're going to have a quick look at some other cards and compare how this card fits in with those. We're going to have a quick look at Windows because there's not much to talk about. And the highlight is really the DOS compatibility. So we're going to spend a bit of time talking about the drivers. And I've got some audio recordings as well towards the end because they are a little bit longer than usually. So that just gives you a good idea of what the FM chip on this sound chip sounds like. At the back of the card, we've got the green line out, the blue line in, the pink microphone input, and this acts for the game port, so you can attach a joystick or gamepad. But it is also the MPU 401 MIDI interface, so you can connect something like a sound canvas or a Yamaha MU MIDI module. So let's have a closer look at what else is interesting. Here, of course, we've got the audio chip. Up here, we've got a few headers for the CD-ROM. I used this header here for testing, and that worked fine under DOS. There's another one here. This might be an auxiliary input. Missing is this connector here for wavetable, so we can't connect the wavetable board internally, but you can get an adapter and connect it through the external MPU 401 MIDI interface. Also very interesting to see these two large capacitors. I haven't seen these on other cards, and that might be an indicator of why this particular model sounds a little bit nicer than some of the other cards I have. Maybe they skimped out on the cheaper models with those capacitors. So that's definitely something to look out for. And also very interesting is this connector here, the SB link. So here we have a slot 1 motherboard with the Intel 440BX chipset, and we can see the same SB link connector here. And you can get such a cable. I think I got one of these off eBay a while ago. I bought a pack of 5, and you can connect the motherboard with the PCI link on the sound card. And this will basically turn this PCI sound card into an ISA sound card in terms of compatibility. And a couple of options or a couple of reasons why you want to do this. You can see on this motherboard we do have ISA slots, and in the past I always questioned the use of this PCI link because, well, why would you use a PCI sound card when you have ISA slots? And I can think of two reasons. One is because you want to use the ISA slots for something else. Some motherboards only have 1 or 2, so being able to use the sound card in the PCI slot will let you use one of these 2 slots for something else. The second reason could be price, of course. Yeah, ISA sound cards prices are quite high now, so it's a bit harder to find a decent sound card, whereas PCI sound cards, on the other hand, are still quite cheap, so that could be a reason. Now, there are also motherboards, Pentium 4 type motherboards, that do not have ISA slots, but do have a PCI link connector. So for those motherboards, this is really handy, as you can get an ISA type compatibility out of a motherboard that doesn't have any ISA slots. When shopping around for an ESS Solo-1, you might come across something like this. This is like a more generic card, and they come predominantly out of China. And I've been told that some of these have worse audio quality, distortion going on. Also, some of them might have some capacitors missing here around the game port, and then the joystick function might not work. But I still have to do a bit more testing. The other thing to watch out for is often you will find listings with the ESS Solo chip in the description, but you actually get something like this, which has an ESS Maestro or Allegro chip. And unfortunately, the ESS Solo-1 is the final chip from ESS that features the ES-FM, so you get very decent FM quality. If you happen to end up with a Maestro or another sound card that's not an ESS one, like an Allegro. Unfortunately, they removed the ES-FM and you get really poor sounding FM. There are still a few PCI sound cards that I need to test, especially in regards to DOS compatibility. But so far, these two are the two best sound cards that I can recommend. On the left side, we've got a sound card based on the Yamaha YMF744 chip. And of course, on the right side, the ESS Solo-1. We will come back to comparing these two towards the end of the video, so be sure to stick around for that. Under Windows 98 SE, we will see an unknown device in Device Manager. The drivers are readily available. As always, I will put a page on our website with all the resources and a few tips and tricks as well, just to help you get going if you buy one of these and you're not quite sure how to get the drivers going. And yeah, you install the drivers. It installs the drivers for the PCI device as well as for the game port. In terms of software, a little bit disappointed. You don't get a fancy control panel like with the Yamaha card. Yeah, there was basically really no dedicated ESS control panel or anything like that. You can go into the mixer settings, tweak the sliders. Usually I mute all the inputs and only leave the FM and the digital portion active. You can also go into the control panel and change the MIDI device, and that is one highlight. You can select the ES-FM. The ES-FM is quite interesting. It supports a native and legacy mode. In legacy mode, it basically acts like a Yamaha OPL3. It sounds fairly accurate. It's one of the best clones, so to speak, but in some cases it can sound different, and that's why I've got some extended game recordings at the end of the video, so you can make up your mind. Under Windows, you get the benefit of using the ES-FM in native mode, and here it's actually more feature-rich than a Yamaha OPL3, so if you enjoy listening to MIDI files with FM under Windows, this sound card might be something for you. When you launch an MS-DOS prompt, you do get Sound Blaster emulation. I didn't fully investigate that and look for compatibility because we're gonna shut down the computer into proper MS-DOS mode, and this is really where the sound card shines. So let's talk about the DOS drivers. Unfortunately, there are no dedicated DOS drivers with a nice installer like with the Yamaha card. Even when installing Windows 98, it didn't install anything to do with DOS, but it's not an issue. There are drivers on the internet, and like I said earlier, we'll put everything on a page on our website, so you can just download it from there. I will put something visual on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. There's the ESS olo.ini that needs to go into the root directory of your hard drive. Then you need to load ESS olo.sys in config.sys. You also need to do something in the autoexec.bat file. You need to load ESS olo.exe, and you need to also load the mixer, which is called ESS vol.exe. That configures the mixer. It's got a few switches, but it's really easy to figure out. You just gotta enter the number, which equates to the volume level. Put in a 0 if you want to mute the inputs, like I've done in the video. I'm muting the line input and the auxiliary, I believe, but I have the CD audio unmuted. I then had a few issues. The sound card would give me interrupt 10 for the Sound Blaster emulation, and yeah, most games don't work with that. They don't even give you the option to choose interrupt 10. You want to have interrupt 5 or 7, and the solution was easy. You just gotta move the sound card to a different PCI slot, and you might have to do this a few times. There's also a plug and play option in the BIOS, which you might have to fiddle around with, and eventually the sound card went with interrupt 5, and I was ready to test some games. So let's talk about the compatibility with DOS games. Initially, the plan was to capture every single game, but I messed up and it didn't capture the audio, so I had to move on. So we've got a list here with all the games I tried, and instead I've got some more extensive audio recordings towards the end. I think that's actually gonna work out better for you guys, because you can listen properly to how the ES-FM sounds, and you can make up your mind how it compares to a real Yamaha OPL3. So compatibility was excellent. Most games are green. Two are yellow, Space Quest VGA and The Heart of China. I had issues with the Sound Blaster in those two games, but configuring the game with AdLib, the games worked. That's why I gave them yellow and not red. Compatibility, like if you switch back, I've got another slide here where we look at the Yamaha. We've got a few red games. The Yamaha can't do AD PCM or something like that. It's a codec that only Duke Nukem 2 and maybe another game uses. So it's not really a big deal, but it's worth mentioning. So if you want to play Duke Nukem 2, you can't do that on the Yamaha. And you also can't play Turrican 2 and Wing Commander Privateer. And this has to do with the driver on the Yamaha. It requires EMS memory, and these two games don't like that. And they will work just fine on the ESS Solo-1. So the bottom line is that in terms of compatibility, more games will work on the ESS Solo-1, but really it's only a few games that have issues with expanded memory manager. So don't discount the Yamaha YMF. I still really like the sound card, especially if you like the authentic FM sound. Then there's no way around the Yamaha. And now I've got some extended game recordings that we can listen to, and do let me know, what is your opinion between the ESFM and the OPL3? Is it a deal breaker for you? Can you not notice any difference at all? Or yeah, let me know what you think. I'm definitely eager to hear your thoughts. I'm still making up my mind which one is the best one, because it's really hard. Both are really good, have good compatibility, and it's really difficult to pick one or the other. It comes down to the games you want to play and if your preference in regards to the FM. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you soon with another one.
I'm back.
Indy?
You don't look at all well, Dr. Jones.
Exploring our collections can be dangerous, Mr. What was your name again?
Smith. Tell me, did you find a lock to match my key?
You bet I did. Take a look.
What are you waiting for? Let's open it.
Why not? It's an obvious fake.
You may think so, Doctor, but I believe we are opening a new chapter in history.
My word, Indy, a small metal bead. Jewelry, perhaps?
I still think it's a fake.
Then you won't mind if I take it.
Really, Mr. Smith?
Stand back, gentlemen.
I hope you've got a getaway car waiting. You'll need one.
What is this?
He got away.
But we got his coat, Marcus. Hey, what's this? Klaus Kerner, huh?
Good Lord, Indy, the man's some sort of agent from the Third Reich. What does the spy want with the Buddhist statue?
I lied, Marcus. I don't think it's a phony. I can't place the style, but it's old.
Look what else our friend was carrying. An old copy of National Archaeology. And there you are in Iceland.
Yeah, field supervisor for the Jastro expedition. My first real job.
Who's the woman?
Sophia Hapgood. She was my assistant, the spoiled rich kid from Boston, rebelling against her family.
Where is she now?
She gave up archaeology to become a psychic.
How odd.
You can say that again.
Indy, Kerner found you. What if he finds her? We should warn the woman.
You're right. I want to know more about that statue. You know, Marcus, the coldest year of my life was the one I spent in Iceland with Sophia.